Everton's takeover continues to drag on as discussions between majority shareholder Farhad Moshiri and 777 partners continue. But there are serious doubts over whether the sale will go through. Manager Sean Dyche admits it's a complicated process.
I can only imagine, and some I know a little bit about it. You know, the last club there was a takeover, and it took a long time. And you know, there's a lot going on at this club. I think we've spoken on this subject before, obviously, and there's a lot going on. It's not just as simple as the club's up and running and you just buy it. I don't think it's that situation. You've got new ground getting built. You've got the complexities of the finances here. That's become obvious. Staying in the division, which is now achieved, of course. There's a lot going on. So I don't know all them points are all necessary, but I would imagine there's a lot of detail that goes into buying this football club, and that would take some time.
Well, let's head live to Everton's training ground and speak to our reporter, Vinny O'Connor. Good afternoon, Vinny. We heard from Sean Dyche there talking about this takeover, which is dragging on and will be affecting his own plans for the summer.
Yeah, that's right. Sean Dyche talk about a lot going on as regards a takeover, and it's a complicated process. It's been a complicated job that Sean Dyche has had to do with Everton this season, with the points deduction and that takeover potentially happening in the background as well. And it's probably why a number of us feel that Sean Dyche deserves to be mentioned or among the nominees, certainly for the Manager of the Year award, particularly as Everton guaranteed safety with 3 games to spare of this Premier League season. But in terms of the picture facing Sean Dyche moving forward, now we know that the financial picture at Everton is not great. They owe MSP Sports Capital around £158 million. They have an owner who wants to sell the club and is not willing to invest further funds into the club as well. And on top of that, of course, 777 partners have put in around £200 million in loans just for the day-to-day operating costs and, of course, to help finance the new stadium build as well. So this protracted takeover has taken another twist of late because obviously 777 have not been able to meet the conditions that the Premier League have set out. So it seems that they've not been able to prove they have the necessary funding to take over a club like Everton. And you look at the examples of the fact that an airline that they own over in Australia went into voluntary administration last week. There's the situation at Standard Liège as well, where they are effectively under a transfer embargo at the moment because they've not been able to issue proof of funds. And then, of course, there's a fraud case as well facing 777 partners over in New York, that case being taken to court. So they're the issues around this protracted takeover. We know there are other interested parties, but the situation has led the Everton Shareholders Association to call for an end to this farce, both from Farhad Moshiri and from the Premier League as well. So in terms of what Sean Dyche has got to work with moving forward, it's difficult to say exactly what the financial picture is for him, what kind of money there will be available to improve the squad. He will, of course, be working with the Director of Football, Kevin Thelwell, and on top of that, there are the futures of a number of players to be sorted out as well. Seamus Coleman is out of contract this summer. Dominic Calvert-Lewin moves into the final year of his deal. Jack Harrison, Ono Danjuma's loan deals will end this summer, of course. Then there's Andre Gomez out of contract this summer, along with Dele Alli, along with Ashley Young, and along with Idrissa Gana Gueye as well. So I think the best person to speak about how it is in terms of planning for the future is Sean Dyche, and this is what he had to say a short while ago.
You know, we're having to manage different situations the best we can. Kevin and his team, myself and the staff, looking at players, looking at options. Obviously, the ones in-house currently, the ones that are controllable as we see fit, contractually, and then that'll have to go to the interim board, and still the owner is in ownership now, to sign off in certain situations, because the club has to keep moving forward, of course. Outside of that, more tricky on the transfer side because what money is available, what money gets generated as normal in a situation in any summer period, and trying to sort of imagine all these different scenarios, and it's very difficult. It's difficult for Kevin, his team, difficult for me and the staff to navigate our way through and find out who we're keeping for sure. Fair to say, an important factor of that is, of course, securing Premier League status, of course, because it's a two-way thing, don't forget. It's not just us wanting players. Them and their advisors also look back at the club and say, right, OK, where's the club at? Well, the first big hurdle this season, particularly with points taken off us and the like, was to make sure we secure ourselves in the Premier League. So we've done that. So obviously that changes somewhat their view back to us as well.
All season, it seems we've been talking about off-the-field matters when it comes to Everton. In the short term, at least, it looks like that's not going to change. Although we did speak a little bit about football today, and it was a surprise, really, as well, because Jarrad Branthwaite is not among the nominees for the Young Premier League Player of the Season either. And when Sean Dyche looks at it, and you look at Everton's defensive record this season and the impressive performances that Jarrad Branthwaite put in, Sean Dyche has taken the view that that's pretty much unfathomable. Easy for me to say as well.
Vinny, we will leave it there. Thank you very much. Oh, we'll call it heat stroke. It's very hot out there. That's the excuse.